Welcome to Dad's DeFi space. I'm Kevin, and I'm so grateful you have taken a moment out of your day to spend it with me, your guide to all things crypto and DeFi. I am in the Christmas spirit today, and we are going to put on some tunes. We're going to hopefully get started. And remember, none of this is financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Please do your own research. Never invest more than you can afford to lose. But let's get right to it today. Look, as stocks flirt with all-time highs, commodities, gold, silver, and the like are going parabolic. And crypto has been in a downtrend and now is trading in a tight range. What truly is going on beneath the surface? What is truly going on beneath the surface? Perfect. The stocks have been flirting with all-time highs. Crypto has been in a massive downtrend and trading now within a tight range. What's really going on beneath the surface? We're going to talk today about the Fed's next moves, Bitcoin's war zone of resistance, Ethereum's ongoing struggle, and look, this December almost Christmas update is going to give you the unfiltered, macro-informed view every smart crypto trader or ZORA user needs. Now, please stick around to the end of the stream on our thesis, and we're going to look at some altcoin charts, and we're also going to dive into some ZORA alpha. But for the people out there in YouTube land, please like and subscribe and help share this content with anyone who will benefit. Now, before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about my macro thesis and the market sentiment, just generally speaking right now. Look, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ right now, and I know this is a crypto channel, but we are also talking about what affects our space, and the stock market does affect our space, but the S&P and NASDAQ are near all-time highs. Look, even though it seems so bullish in that respect, fear still exists in the market. And we'll look at the fear and greed index in just a minute. Now, why is there so much fear in the market? Well, first, Fed rates. Yes, they raised the rates for December, but if you check the Fed watch, a lot of people think we may not have a rate cut in January, less than 25% if you look at rates. The BOJ hike likely will be around 0.5 to 0.75, but we don't know. And if the rates don't raise in January, the market is probably going to react negatively to this. Now, there's also AI bubble fears, right? The Magnificent Seven, along with many projects within the crypto space, those businesses within the S&P 500 are dominating the AI space, and they make up almost 40% of the S&P 500. Look, if the AI is in a bubble and that bubble pops, it will affect crypto, and people are worried about that. Now, another thing is the Japan carry trade. Now, Japan just hiked their interest rates, and Japan had near zero or negative interest rates, so people could borrow Japanese money at next to nothing, convert into US dollars, invest in stocks, invest in crypto, whatever, and that added liquidity into the market. And look, some of that liquidity ends up within the base ecosystem, within the ZORA ecosystem. So these are things that you don't have to read constantly, but you do need to keep in the back of your mind when making decisions. So VIX, which is the volatility index, is structuring signals and showing suppressed volatility. We see this usually before corrections or explosions in space. But anyway, so Bitcoin, and we'll take a look at the charts. It's been range bound. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. And the Ethereum weekly resistance is around $3,000 and support around $2,800. And we've talked about that over the last few weeks. But why does all this matter? Because I feel like I'm sitting here teaching economics to history students, and half of them are falling asleep in fourth period. But this matters because if you understand the tone of the macro space, you are going to see what might come next within crypto, because there's two things you all need to understand. Number one, do not fight the Fed. There's a reason that they say that, right? Do not fight the Fed. And on on top of that, not only can we not fight the Fed, we roll with the trend. And once I pull the charts out, you're going to see the trend has not been our friend, because the trend has been down literally since the all-time high on Bitcoin at 126. We make it all the way down to, let's see, what was that? Around just below, around 80K. Now that's a 36% decline. That is absolutely crazy. But if you will just review our main ideas here with the charts, okay? So with Bitcoin, actually, before we discuss Bitcoin, let's go back to the SPY index. Now, we are sitting on the weekly chart. This is the US stock market. You can see the massive dip that occurred last April. That's when, well, my altcoins got wrecked. But we have been on an absolute tear, literally. And if I go to the monthly, it's for years. Look at that. It looks like some meme coin or creator token right here, right? We have topped out at 6,800 on the S&P. If you look at the VIX is absolutely kind of bottomed out, minus these 2 days on the monthly. We go to the weekly, looks even worse. You can see where we're about as low as we can be. When this goes on the uptrend, the market is getting volatile. Now, the final thing I wanted to talk about is the dollar index. Now, the dollar index has been on a massive downtrend, as you can see. This downtrend has been going on the weekly literally since last January. So you would expect Bitcoin to be running, because we talked about the M2 money supply, but they gave us a big fake out this time, right? So what is Bitcoin truly doing right now? Right, and if you look at the chart, you'll see both my bear and bull cases, right? We already had our death crossed on the chart. And actually, I want to turn on the MACD real quick. If it'll let me. Hold on 1 second and we'll get this going. I have the wrong indicator on. All right, there we go. I don't need to, though. Perfect. And you know what else? I'm going to put in our death cross so you can see this on the chart. All right, perfect. Now, looking at the weekly, you can see that Bitcoin has had local support right around $81,300, $81,400 right here on the chart. This whole area between the low 80s to the mid areas is pretty much our battle zone. And by battle zone, I mean, if we lose this area, you're looking at going all the way back down to around 70K, 69,000, which really was kind of the beginning of this parabolic run. It actually was a little lower than that, which was right before President Trump's election, right? Now, going back to what we were talking about, the MACD is still bearish. Our momentum is bearish, no surprise there. But Bitcoin, if we go down to the daily, has been kind of range trading. At first, we got two separate ranges, and you could make it a little wider. Once we broke through, it's around 93K to 81K. And then our more kind of short-term range, which I've been scalp trading, is 84.6 all the way to, say, $93,000, right? Now, talking about Bitcoin is, it's do or die time. This is when everyone's going to be like, we have now dropped below, the bear really is on, or it's going to pump. But trust me, when this pump occurs, everyone is going to think the bull market's back on. And I would like to bring your attention way back to the prior cycle. Let's see if I can get this to fit in the chart. You can see the prior cycle right here, right? We had our double top, around April, and then again, we had another top in November, and this massive downtrend, right? Around here, if let me take this off and put on the bull market support band. I think this will help a lot more than looking at the death cross. So we'll put on the bull market support band. This is kind of the indicator I would follow on Bitcoin. Lets us know if it's super bullish, super bearish. As you can see, we started to go down, the bull market support band, we broke through here. It acted as resistance, and then we really bottomed out. So right here, people are saying, oh man, I lost a little bit. I want to try to win it back, right? Boom, it happens again. They buy the pump, it happens again. It pumps, they buy the pump, and then boom, we bottom out to basically our capitulation period all the way down to $15,000, $16,000 after the FTX collapse. Now, this is the part of the chart I'm really watching, right? After this first initial pump, right? This downtrend that I'm marking on the chart, from here, from here to here, right? This was kind of our initial downtrend. But then immediately after our initial downtrend, what happens? We pump back up to here, and it just catches everybody off guard. And all those bulls got caught in that bull trap, and they got annihilated right here in March, the spring of 2022. Now, going back to this time in the chart, right now, I think in this battle zone, we're going to get our pop. But I also think when we get that pop might go up, back down, up some more. We might even get all the way back up to here to like 112, 113, maybe even into this almost all-time high range. But unless I see this MACD turn super, super bullish and stay that way on a longer time frame, or for some reason we just pop and our momentum gets back above the 50-week or the bull market support band, I think we already had our market cycle. So look, we do confirmation over prediction, no breakout, no risk on, not yet. Although we do play around in some risky environments with small amounts of capital. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the stream. Now, the next one on the chart I want to take a look at is Ethereum. Now, Ethereum has been weak, as you can see, just like Bitcoin hit an all-time high, almost $5,000. We are now down a total of, remember, we've taken almost a 50% dip on ETH, which is nuts, right? Now, the Ethereum, we got local support around 2,800. That's this yellow line on the chart right here. A lower support around 2,625. And the resistance on our chart is sitting right above 3,000. So it's been a crazy range to scalp trade in. But look, ETH has to lead to ignite the altcoin market. And a close above 3K, or really a close back here above 3,400K, maybe some altcoins can start to run again. But look, can you see the bull market support band? So far, it's acting as resistance. Check out Bitcoin. We haven't even tested the bull market support band back yet. And what happened if you zoom back to the last market cycle? Hold on one second. So much easier to do it this way. Right here. During the last market cycle, we tried to get back above the bull market support band. In fact, we did get back above the bull market support band just a little bit, right? Right here. Oops. Right there. But we did not manage to bounce. If we would have had the bounce there, maybe we would have continued. We broke below. I think this is going to happen again. And I could be wrong, but market here. Last time during the spring, we have a nice little pump. Everybody gets excited again, overindulge, buy too many crazy alts, and then they get wrecked. Just something to think about later in the stream. So the final couple charts I wanted to look in before we get into some altcoins, because I know that's what a lot of you all really, truly want to play with, right? Play with the altcoin market. We all get burned sometimes, right? Now, before we go any farther, let's try to put on some Christmas tunes. Okay, and we're going to be taking a look at some altcoin charts here in just a minute. But before then, there's a couple charts you really need to know if you're going to follow your altcoins. That includes ZORA, Aero, all these different ones we check out on the base ecosystem. But maybe you like to play around with some different stuff. Maybe Solana, maybe Sui, maybe Tau. That's one that I like to play as far as like the AI narrative. So I'm not going completely out of altcoins, but I'm consolidating my positions. I've taken some losses for tax harvesting, etc., etc. But right now, I mean, we're looking for exits on AVAX. We've already exited out of virtuals. I want to exit out of MicroStrategy, possibly Clean Spark, and I'm debating on Ondo Finance because we're down so bad on that one. But we may just hold and do some light accumulation at the bottom of the bear. Hard to say. Still thinking about that one. But a chart you need to watch if you're going to pay attention to the altcoin market is Bitcoin dominance, right? So we are now on the Bitcoin dominance chart on the weekly, okay? We were in this massive, massive uptrend, as you can see with Bitcoin dominance. This is basically the whole last market cycle. ETH never had its time to shine. This little area right here, which literally was what, June 25 to September 25, that was the tippy top possibly of our market cycle. Dominance dropped drastically, and when dominance drops, that means that liquidity is moving into altcoins or Ethereum and altcoins, right? That is why we keep an eye on Bitcoin dominance and also the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. The Ethereum Bitcoin chart, I put this one on my channel so many different times, but this right here for the BTC is a great chart to follow the altcoin market, right? At least I personally think so. Hold on one second, this playlist isn't working. Let's try to find a new one. Perfect. We will just play it. Now, going back to what we were talking about, and I'm sorry, I haven't had a chance to check any of the messages. I'll have to check them after the stream. I'll try to get back with everybody, but I hope you're here and enjoying yourself, right? All right, back to Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So look, as far as Ethereum versus Bitcoin, if ETH is bearish, okay, but I don't think it's going to appear as bearish as you think unless we break back into this super downtrend, which we might, right? I'm really watching this 0.032 level. I've marked it on my chart, right? And then we'll also be watching the 0.3 level, which is close to where we're moving a little bit farther though. So my zone box needs to kind of move over here, right? This is the area we're watching right below the white flags, because if ETH Bitcoin breaks down here, that means Bitcoin is sucking out all of ETH's liquidity and altcoins are going to bleed like crazy. If Ethereum stays above, it's still decreasing, just not as much as Bitcoin. And hopefully that can give some power to altcoins during the next bounce, right? So ETH versus BTC and Total 3, both of these charts are urging caution on altcoins, right? But the ETH BTC chart gives us at least a little bit of hope, right? Now, if we take a look at Total 3, we're way below the bull market support band, as you can see. We're bottomed out around below $800 billion. Altcoins are dead as far as I'm concerned, pretty much, until we get back above about 1 trillion market cap on Total 3. Now, if you don't know, Total 3 is the total market cap minus Bitcoin and ETH. So you're just looking at all your layer ones and other altcoins in the top, say 100 or so. Excuse me. Now, obviously, this means alts are still in this massive corrective phase. So we're going to take a look at a couple altcoin charts. The first one I want to start with is Solana. Solana is one of the largest layer ones, second in command minus ETH. Now, we have been playing a lot more in the base ecosystem, but we have done a lot on the Solana playground too, on Pump.Fun and providing liquidity on Orca, Meteora, and Radium. There's a lot of good going over there, right? But I think retail is going to end up navigating more into the base ecosystem eventually, right? Now, taking a look at the Solana chart, we have now broken below 127. If we don't get back above here, we're looking at 110, 112. That's why I'm running a Solana short right now. And if you wait a minute, I will try to load up some of my stuff and we can take a look at some of my trades. If you give me just a second. No, hopefully it didn't log me out. It did not. Now we have an excellent Solana short over here. It's in around 70% profit. We'll bring it over to the other monitor. As you can see, it's right here. And you can take a look at our Solana perp. We entered in around 127.5. We're sitting at 123. If we break below, I actually am laddering out at 121 and then around 118, 116. I don't know if we'll get all the way down this one, but pull some nice profits on this one. Already sitting up about 200 and already taking around $200 of profit on literally a $300 trade. Thank you, please. If you would like to know some of my trades and moves before they happen and eventually get access to our Signal bot, please check out the link in the description for Layer Bank. 15% off all your fees. That's a gift from me. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and let's get back to the charts. So looking at Solana, way below the bull market support band, we are keeping an eye on two things, right? We're keeping an eye right here. It's really kind of the floor, which is around 129 to 130. And then we're also keeping an eye on, let me find it. It's about 146 to 148, but really it's around 150. If you go down to the daily chart, you can kind of see it a little bit more, not much, right? It'd be approximately right here, which is 145. So if we can get back above 129, we could push towards 145. I don't think that's in the cards right now. I think we're going to push down, maybe even break below 110. And if we break below 110, right, our next area is way down here around $98. Now, if we did that, that would be a killer short. But you can see how we tapped into this range right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. We might go an eighth. If we break through an eighth time, that's not good. This chart is looking absolutely weak. So any of the Solana fans out there, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but you can still make some money on Solana. We can short it. I'm also done really good with this liquidity position. Now, it has been earning like $5 to $10 a day on $200. We convert it to USDC. Right now, we're using this to pay down all of our loans, which are actually getting pretty close. That means on less than $550, if it were to stay like this, we would earn $1,500 of fees in a 12-month period. Obviously, the yield will not stay this high for that long a period, but man, right now we are totally benefiting from it. It's the 0.3% SOL USD position on Orca. Orca is one of the leading dexes on Solana. It is the leading dex for providing concentrated liquidity. You can also use a protocol like Hawkeye to automate your positions on Orca or leverage them up with DeFi Tuna. We have an article on our website at DADSDEFISPACE.org. Now, look at that. 500% yield on Solana. Thank you. I will. But eventually this one will go out of range. When it goes out of range, yeah, it's going to be time to rebalance. And this one's going down out of range on the Solana. So we may need to enter capital out of this position into the other one. Sometimes I like to run a a narrow range position to earn lots of fees and then feed it into a less risky, higher range position, such as I'm doing in this Orca portfolio. But we're just going to keep adding to this and let the flywheel pay for our loan, and then eventually stack Solana a little bit during the bear market. But I am slowly taking my lending position and converting my Solana into wrap Bitcoin and stable coins. But enough about the Orca portfolio. Let's get back to some altcoin TA. And I know a lot of you have been waiting for this one, but we're going to take a look at Aerodrome. Now, Aerodrome Finance is the leading DEX on the Solana blockchain, okay? The leading DEX. Now, what's so interesting about Aerodrome is their liquidity mechanics, right? They tried to create not just a flywheel, because the biggest problem with DEX reward tokens such as Aero, the biggest problem is, well, inflation. Those tokens have to be printed to offer those rewards. So they wanted to create mechanisms to lock tokens. That's why I decided to add an extra DADSDEFISPACE, our creator token on ZORA liquidity pool, into Aerodrome. It's only around $600 or $700 right now, so you can't really do big trades, but we're going to just slowly build that one over time. Maybe it'll get big enough one day that we can actually do some voting on it. So we are looking at the daily chart of Aerodrome. We broke the bull market support band back in November like every other altcoin. And as you can see, we have been in this absolutely massive downtrend, except for that one pump, right? Lower low after lower low after lower low, minus this one, after lower low. We are right at the bottom of our range, sitting at 47 cents. I will be accumulating a little bit of Aero right here. Not financial advice, of course, but could we break below it? Yeah, we could. And if we do, our next range of support is 38 cents and 30 cents. So we could have a ways to go. And if you think altcoins have bled, you have seen nothing yet. The last bear market, many altcoins, they lose 80, 90, 95, 99%. I've seen tokens lose 99% and then lose another 99% after that. Be careful out there, folks. But here's the thing. If we go down to a lower time frame on Aero, we have been kind of bouncing against this, but volume has looked very, very weak. Let me put the volume on the chart so you can kind of visualize this. See, on a downtrend, we're on a downtrend. So I'm hoping maybe it might be a little bit of manipulation, maybe not. I didn't say that, but if that's the case, like maybe this rebounds. So I'm going to hold on to Aero and watch this one, but there's no doubting that this is a brutal looking chart. Now, if you want to see one even worse, not this one, but the last one we're going to look at today. This is the ZORA chart. As you can see, we broke our support, which was the 0.238 level. And then the bottom of the bull market support band, you can see where we tapped into it a whole bunch right here. That was around 0.052 to 0.058 cents. And we are facing now resistance right here at 0.046. We need to get back above that. We might be able to push into 502. Now, understand that ZORA is an extremely volatile token, but a lot of the creators would sell their ZORA in the USDC. I would be the first to say that I am doing that a little bit because it's so volatile, and I see this downtrending more. I mean, if we go all the way back to the beginning, we got a ways to go. We could get down to 2.3 cents, 1 cent. I think this could be our floor right here, maybe around 2 cents. And that's another 60, 70% downtrend in ZORA. So for all my creator friends out there, just keep that in mind. I try to buy the dips, sell the rips. If you do that on ZORA and you like trading creator tokens, it really does help because there's more liquidity going through the system, less slippage. You make a bigger percentage gains off of your moves. Very, very much something to consider. So as far as ZORA, we're just watching this range. But when we dip down to 0.03 cents, I'm usually accumulating ZORA. If you look at our layer bank account, you can see that we did short ZORA at 0.041. This is the second short. I shared one within my trading group. The other one was more of an experimental trade. I don't share those necessarily. We are around 100% profit right now, as you can see, right? 100%. And again, trade with us over on Layer Bank, help support the channel, and join our free premium group. All you need to do is sign up with Layer Bank. DM me on Telegram if you're interested, and I can help set you up. We do have a few new members, and we're really going to open the floodgates at the beginning of the year, so be one of the first people to join. Now, let's go back to the ZORA chart, because the next thing I really want to get into is creator tokens before we look at our VFAT portfolio. So looking here, ZORA's really honored a lot of the bib levels, right? So we've really been watching this 0.238 level and the 0.16 level, which I don't have labeled on the chart, but it's this one right here, which is pretty much our resistance. We need to get back above that, right? Mark that on your charts. 0.046. We are pretty low, around lower fours right now, 4 cents. Not looking good. All right, so let's pivot, and we're going to talk about some of our alpha moves. Hold on 1 second. So before I get into creator coins, I just wanted to summarize. We're consolidating into high conviction plays. We're beginning to short all pumps, especially on altcoins. And we are paying down any leverage loans we have because it is time to de-risk. But we're also prepping for the base airdrop and playing around in the creator coin ecosystem of ZORA. And I wanted to share some of that with you. How to, two things actually today. One is what I use to research creator tokens. Now, on the base ecosystem, you have a lot of different social fi protocols and apps. This one in particular, you can use to monetize your content. And I'm sure many of you all have heard of the ZORA ecosystem. Now, happy holidays. And I want to tell you, I really appreciate that you all made it today. So to summarize, right, bear mode's activated. We're consolidating into higher conviction plays, that being Tau and Aero, ZORA, a little bit of Plume as a more micro cap, but that one we got pretty much wrecked in, and I'm waiting to see where it bottoms, and then I'll accumulate. We are shorting pumps, we're scalping leverage, we're paying down our loans and reducing our exposure in the market slowly. We're selective with our LP farming. Right now, just Solana and ETH, maybe eventually just Solana, or excuse me, Ethereum or Bitcoin. We're building with ZORA. We're experimenting with base and creator coins. You gotta have that alpha. You gotta have that edge in the crypto market. And if you do not feel like you have an edge, consider just joining DADSDEFISPACE or our Substack and read our articles. Trust me, a little education will take you a long way. So look, this holiday, you really should give yourself more than just alpha. Give yourself some clarity, some strategy, and community. Here's how you truly plug in for us, right? Follow us on X at CryptoZone1013. Join the free Telegram group. Follow us on Base App, Farcaster. Create a creator token and add me. You create a token, you add me, I'll buy your token. Now, also, this Christmas, give yourself the gift of trading better. Become a part of our free Signal group. Sign up with our L Bank referral link. 50% off all your future trades, 10% off spot. Access to my premium Signal group, an early invite to our AI trading bot, setups, alpha, all my Web3 research. No fluff, no fake gurus, just the dad, just charts, signals, and culture. So please, enjoy your families, enjoy your friends. Please, guys, go out today and touch some grass. I know I will. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, peace.